Spring Groove and Dave Stringer, thanks to have you here for this short interview. I'd like to firstly ask you a very general question. Actually, what is kirtan? Because kirtan in Sanskrit actually only means singing, but kirtan is a special form of singing. What is it? Could you explain this?
Well, the important part of it is that it's a kind of singing that's call and response. So it's an interaction between a band and a crowd. Mm-hmm. And so if people aren't singing back, it's a concert. When people are singing, it's a kirtan. But kirtan is, think of it as an old technology of bliss creation.
And kirtans are sung in Sanskrit. Is there any importance of understanding Sanskrit? Because I don't usually. Is it any more powerful if you know what you're singing, or does it matter?
I think that there's power in just coming together as a group and singing. Traditionalists will say that there's actual energy and vibration that's created in the use of Sanskrit. I wouldn't consider myself a traditionalist. I think that it's enough to come together and just to sing. And whether it's in English, sometimes I sing in Hebrew. I think magic happens when people come and open their hearts and sing. So different people will give you different answers, but...
Yeah. When I first encountered it, I didn't know what it meant. I was a filmmaker. I ended up working for a guru in this ashram. And so I discovered it because of a job that I had. So initially, I just heard it as sound. I liked the process of participating in it, and I thought, well, this works. Whether I understand it or not, it works. But the thing is yoga's asking us to, yoga invites us to ask questions. So for us, it's a conversation with each other and also with the crowd. And it first starts with just the act of singing. So we try and inspire that.
How long you're playing together music now?
6 years. This marks 6 years. Yeah, we started together in 2006 in Europe, in Germany. I think my first gig was in Lindau with Dave.
Right.
He had been doing kirtan a very long time before I was able to sing with him, and then just life coordinated itself because I was here doing music and he needed a singer, and so I said, okay, yeah, I'll come.
And it worked.
Are people different in like USA, Europe, or Asia when you play?
Dave has traveled the world, I think, more than me. I'm in Europe and in...
Right.
So you have better experience.
We've played in Europe and the USA, and you've never played with me in Asia or Australia,
No.
so I'll answer that people aren't really any different. That actually it's surprising how universal chanting in Sanskrit is. I guess this is the beautiful thing. It's a language nobody speaks.
Language.
So it's equal. The experience of chanting in Bali or Sydney or Montreal or Munich or Milwaukee is all the same. We all enter it into the same space. So I find there's a point in the middle of the kirtan where it's not any different.
Have you ever played in India, like where it's all coming from?
That's where I started. But not, that was when I was learning. I have never gone there as a professional kirtan singer. What's happening in the West, in America and Europe especially, is very interesting to Indian people because we're taking a seed of their culture.
Yeah,
and
I'm curious to see what we've done with it.
Like we're progressing it into the modern world. And sometimes Indian people come and they're like, what you're doing, not so traditional, but
I like
my kids like it. And I want them to chant,
Is there any mantra you love the most? And if so, why?
It's like flavor of the week, though. I think it just depends on your mood. We're always evolving beings. We're always in different moods, and we always need different things. It's like food. You crave different things. I think I crave different mantras.
But I think for me, though, the first mantra I was ever introduced to was Om Namah Shivaya. And it also refers to how things fall apart and then come back together again. So the rock and roll part of me loves the destroy part.
I like the idea of the creator and the destroyer. Like, I find myself always wanting more things or new things and it makes me say, okay, well, what am I maybe going to let go of so that I can create more space for something new? So it's
because traveling and singing is always about letting go of things, about letting go of what you thought was going to happen, what you thought you were going to have.
Both of you are traveling a lot, I think. That's what I read.
Yeah, a lot.
Aren't you
9 months
like,
of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you losing roots or are you home everywhere?
That's a good question. Definitely, home has expanded.
Definitely.
Well, it once was New York, and then it became New York and Venice Beach, California. Now it's New York, Venice Beach, California, and Bologna, Italy. And I also feel like I have a little bit of a hub in Munich now. A lot of friends there, a lot of ties there, a player that I work with a lot there. So, yeah, it's very exciting year after year, and you show up in different cities and you start to see the same faces. It's really cool. And you see it grow, and you see your life expand, and you see that it's happened through music, and that's a thrill. That's really thrilling.
Yeah, I would say I'm as comfortable in Europe as I am in America or in Australia. I'm happy wherever I am. There's always, the one thing is when I get ready for a trip, I feel like I'm being shot out of a cannon, like a missile being launched across the world. And that's always a little bit like, what? I was just getting comfortable, And so even like when I've been in Europe for 3 or 4 months and then I have to go back to America, it seems strange to me for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, what a strange country, even though I'm from there.
My last question, which I always ask, is what is the most important question in life?
What is the most important question?
I think the fundamental question is, who am I? I think all philosophy ultimately stems from that. And so all this kirtan that we're doing really is an attempt to answer that question. I suppose from after you say, who am I, the next question is, why am I here?
Why am I here is a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the short interview. Happy traveling.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.